No reason not to. Anyway, good luck to everybody. We're going to today's daf is Samech Vav. We're going to start at the bottom of Samech Hey Amid Beis. So let's go over something we did the other day. Go over something we did the other day, and of course it's going to segue into today's daf. About I'd say 11, 12 lines in the bottom. Machlo bias, machlo sadeh. You sell a house to somebody or a field, but Amar loy, listen, and you say to him, the Moicha says, when I'll have money, then hechsirum li, then return it to me, right? So when I have money, right, then you're going to go ahead, right, and you return it to me. So lekeach now, right? Lekeach now is in the field, right? He's in the field now, and he's using the field, and what does he say to him? The money, right? And when I have money, I'm going to buy it back from you. When I have money, I'm going to buy it back from you. It's also to do that, says Rashi. The nimtza she'im. You find that the sale wasn't a sale; it wasn't a final sale. Because Paris, and the person was eating Paris, schar ma'osav oimid v'noitel. If this is the case of what of aganotar, the schar that this money was being used since it wasn't a sale, it was a loan, right? He's getting back the Paris. He's getting back the Paris. So it's asa al sabak ribis. However, says the Gemara, but if the lekeach says when you'll have money, then achsirim l'cha, I'll return it to you, then it's muta. The Gemara asks, right? The Gemara asks that the is not going to Yehuda, and the Gemara asks, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa, Amarava, Seifa Damalei Midaitei. The Seifa is speaking where he said, he really sold it outright, but he said, if I want, I'll return it to you. So since it was a sale, a final sale, there's no ribbis whatsoever. There's no loan. It's not like the moich is making the call and getting the money back. It's the lekeach saying, if I want, I'll go ahead and do it. But einachinami. So let's see Rashi. The amalei midaitoi im ertza. If I want, achsireim, I'll return you the money. V'lo shetelvani b'din, and not that you can make a claim from me in din. Hilkach muta. The nami chazav v'kiva moisav. If the moicha now goes back and accepts the money, ad akshav shaloi haisa. Until now, it was his. Until now, it's his. And he's selling it back to him. It was his until now. It wasn't a loan to him. It wasn't that you lent the moicha the money like the first case. You lent the moicha the money and you're using the field. In this case, you bought a field, you used it, and now you're reselling it. That's it. You're reselling it. Why? Because it's not a condition. I'm telling you, if I want to do it, I'll give it back to you. In the first case where the moicha is selling it and he says he's making conditionally that if he wants to return it, it's returned. Nimsa what the money is a loan. The money is a loan, and when he's going to return the money for him, it was a halva. And lekech ate the Paris, and now the moich is returning the money, which was begeda halva. So it's mechsei karibis, it's avak ribis. Masha'en came when the lekech goes ahead and returns it to him. It's a complete sale, guys. That's the difference between the two. So now, Ahu Gavra, there was this individual. He went ahead and he sold the field to an individual without achrayas. In other words, usually achrayas is, I got you covered. If the field is taken away, I'm going to make it up to you. So in other words, if this field had a lien on it, it was meshubit to a previous loan, I'm going to make it up to you. That's achrayas. Over here, he sold it shloi b'achrayas, meaning he took a gamble. He bought it. He told him, "Listen, if it's taken away from you, you took a loss." The guy said, "Okay," and he went for it. Now, Chazi Davi Ka'atziv, the Meicher sod lekeach that he was sad. He was sad that he put himself in a position that he may lose a field. He may lose his field, and he spent money on it, and he's going to lose his money. So Amalei, the Meicher said to the kaina, the Meicher said to the kaina, the seller said to the buyer, Amayat see this. Why are you sad? Itarfi lo minach, if they take it away from you, magvina lacha shufra shvachu peri. You can come to my field and take back from my best that it was improved on my Paris. In other words, this is after the deal is done. He tells him, don't worry about it. He tells him some words. So the question is, if it's taken away, can he taka go back to him? So Amar Amema says Amema Amid Aleph Pitume Mili Be'alma. All he wants to be is mefatim him. All he wants to go ahead and make him feel a little better. In other words, don't let the door hit you on the way out. You made a bad deal. You finished. Okay, little pat on the head. Don't feel bad. But the bottom line is you're not. Bottom line is you're losing your money. Pitume milsa ba'almahu. Again, it's after the fact. Like it says Taisvis, guys. Pitume milsa ba'almahu. Dafka hacha. Dafka over here. Shekvar umdu al soif liknois. Shaloi b'achrayis. That the deal was done. And the lekeach, the buyer, was upset or sad that the meicher didn't want to sell him with the insurance. If at the beginning of the sale, the meicher told him, "Shadai, you can throw it. In other words, he says that then loy havi ptume mili ela tanai gomer. In other words, he says at the beginning of the sale, even if it goes through without bachrayas, he means to what? So ptume milsa is only when the deal is done already. But the deal is done on these words, then itaka it would be bachrayas. Amar Rashi, back in the Gemara. Amar Rashi, la meimar. I'm a mai. What's the reason it's ptume milsa? Now, kivin de loikeach bo lasnuye. The Lekeach should have gone ahead and made this condition. He should have said, I'm not buying the field. Notice, who wants the achrayas, fellas? The meicher or Lekeach? The buyer or the seller? Clearly, the buyer wants it, right? The seller doesn't care. The seller, the achrayas is the seller gets his money. He doesn't care if this guy is at a loss. It's the buyer. It's the Lekeach who wants the insurance chas v'shalom that the field's taken away from him. So who should have made this condition? The lekeach. But who is saying it? It's the meicher. Don't worry, if they take it away from you, you can collect from my bishuprit, from my best things. And therefore, we're going to say pitume milsa. And over here, it's the meicher that's making it. Amir, we say pitume milsa ba'almahu. We say stamazay, it's pitume milsa. Ella masnitan diktani. Our case in the Mishnah, where you went ahead and you sold a field, and you sold the field. And the meicher said, I'm selling you on the condition that I can buy it back. And if the lekeach says, I'll sell it back to you, right? El masisan, the brisa, the ktani, l'chashiu l'chamois, achsel l'chamutar, when you get money, I'll return its mutar. Now, who should go ahead and make that condition, fellas? Think about it, guys. The meicher wants it back. So he's selling the field because he needs the money now. And he should say to him, if I ever get money together, I want to buy it back. It's really the meicher should be making that condition. But who's making the condition? The lekeach is making the condition. He's saying, and don't worry. If it doesn't, if I'll sell it back to you. So really it's lekeach making condition that it's not in his place to make. And we said muta. It's meaning that then it's not going to be a ribis issue because we'll view it as reselling. The meicher who the boy lasnuye, meicher lo yasni v'lekeach kamasni v'amina and maishna reisha maishna seifa. Okay, so now we have a case of betume milsa because the person who should have made the condition didn't. It's the other person. We have a brisa that a person shouldn't have made it, and he did make it, and we're saying the deal is mutter. And we said, what's the difference in the ratio where the meicher made the condition and it's a avak ribis, and the seifa where the lekeach made the condition and it's okay? What's the maishna ratio, maishna seifa? This is the segue from the earlier the daf. V'amarava seifa da'amale midaite. The seifa is speaking that what he said, when I want. In other words, I'll decide. Taima da'amale midaite. The reason why it's mutter is because what we say that it's with his das. Haloi amalei l'daite loy armina petume mili ba'almahu. We don't say that's petume mili, even though he's the person who shouldn't have been making the condition. Okay, let's go through it again. we have in every situation, in every sale, every loan, right? There's always someone who has the upper hand by gaining something. That's the person who should be making the condition. In a case of a sale where a person's first forced to sell his land, but he really wants it back, he should be the one making the condition. In the case of a sale, when a person sells a field or any piece of karka and insurance is wanted, it's it's the person who buys it who should be making it. Good. Okay. We have the latter case. There's a sale that takes place. The lekeach does not make the condition. The meicha makes the condition. Says the Gemara, that's betume milsa. He doesn't really mean it. He's just stamazoi. He's telling him to go ahead and give him comfort, but it has no nafkamin in choshen mishpat. He's just giving him a comfort because that's the person not making the sale. From a previous brisa, we're going to prove that even though the person who should have made the condition didn't, we don't say betume milsa, right? Because the person who should have made the condition but didn't make it, but the other one did, and still we don't say betume milsa, and that's the kasha. What's that? That's the case of the sale where a person didn't want to sell it, right? So where he didn't want to sell it, then the money, and he says, I can buy it back, then the money given to the lekeach is a loan, and the lekeach is using that money, and he's eating the peiros, and therefore it's avak ribis. But where it's the lekeach that says, don't worry, if you get money together, I'll resell it to you. Why is that okay? Why don't we view it as I'll sell it to you, and therefore the money I have is a loan? Because it's speaking where on my time, on my wallet, I'll do it. It's my das. So what does that mean? Right now, it's an outright sale. I own the land, lock, stock, and barrel. Any peiros that I eat, I'm eating on my land, and the money that I gave you is not a loan. It's not, and the money that is not a loan whatsoever. And when you give it back to me, it's not a loan. It's a sale. Okay. What happens if it wasn't midai pay? What happens if he would have gone ahead and said, what? I'll give it back to you. Then l'chayra, it will be usher as well. L'chayra, it will be usher as well. And we don't say when he told him, I'll sell it back to you, betume milsa. But 1 second, he's not the one who should be making that condition. Yet we say that it helps. So if a kasha, we see betume milsa, even when the person who should be making the condition made the condition, we don't say betume milsa. That's the kasha. Amalei. So they told I guess I may have told back Rav Ashi, midaite lo yamina amalei. So nasa kiman the amalei midaite itmar. We don't say he said midaite. As long as he said it, automatically it's midaite. In other words, there's no two options over here, fellas. Case. Let's go through the case again. You don't want to sell, you sell a field, you don't want it. The lekeach says, don't worry about it. You get your money together, I'll give it back to you. So, and we setz the line when he said, but on my condition. And therefore, we had a question. And what happens if he didn't say it? Then it's we don't say betume milsa. No. It's only one thing. When that person said it, he meant on my das, even without stating it. So therefore, it's betume milsa. It really is not. There's no betume milsa. It's betume milsa, meaning eino chinami. It is betume milsa because he's telling him, if I want to sell it back to you, I'll sell it back to you. But he doesn't have to state it. Look at Rashi. Amalei, 4th line down. Had the Rava, the case of Rava, nasa koime, will view it midaite itmar. We'll view it nasa as if he said midaite. Not that he did say it, but as if he said it. Hachi amarava le'el. Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. You want to know the difference between the Moicha says it and the Lekeach says it? Amarava Seifa, Kivin the Iboy Moicha Asnuye, since the Moicha would have made a condition, V'layasni, V'lekeach Kamalei, Minavshe, and the Lekeach offered to sell it back. Nasa will view it, Ka'oimalei, as if he told him, Midaite, Achsirena, in Ertze. The Afagablei Pirish Midaite, even though we never stated it. Command the Pirish dummies, did he say it? The ain't a love l'koifa, you can't force him to go ahead and sell it back to him. Hilkach inami adrinon, if he returns it back to him, it's a sale. Hashlehu the hodus avenlehu, he's reselling to him. So therefore, it's not a kasha whatsoever. You wanted to say that if he didn't say midaite, then the sale would be batal. We don't say betume milsa. No, even if he doesn't state anything, the sale goes through, and therefore it's not a problem. Okay. Ahu shchiv meira. It was a shchiv meira. The kosev lo gita l'bisayir. He wrote a get to his wife. Very important. Rashi tells us it wasn't on the condition that he dies. Usually we say divrei shchiv meira ksum ksum. If he gets better, then it's off. This is the case where he divorced his wife outright. He's dying. Why would he divorce his wife? Because he wants her to be a gerusha, not an almana, so she shouldn't fall to yibum. You might think, what's the difference, right? He's dead anyway. But the reason he's divorcing her, if she's a gerusha, then she doesn't fall to yibum. Okay? So therefore, he's divorcing her outright. So what happens? Angid ve'isnach, he groaned and he moaned. An amrale, she said to him, "Amai kam misnachis? Why are you moaning and groaning? Ikayemes. If you're going to live, didachana, I'm yours." In other words, she's telling him now. The question is she telling him I'm not accepting the get or no? So I'm Rav Zvid petume milsa ba'almahu. She's just giving him the little comfort, the little pat on the head, but the get is a good get. Amle racham v'iftu ravina v'ila petume mili mai. And if it wasn't Petumei Milsa, she can make a tanai in the get whether she's divorced or not. It's not in her hands to do that. It says it's always in his hands to do that. It says hu gufa daite di kagamar reviyov gita. He might giving her the get on the das that she'll accept it, right? And maybe therefore he's giving the tanai to her that she has the control of it or not. Kamash Malon that no, he's divorcing her outright, and therefore it's Petumei Milsa. That you said doesn't mean anything. Okay, the last thing in the Mishnah was, let's see, we said we're going to discuss it today. Go back to the Mishnah, Samechei Amid Beis. Samechei Amid Beis. Hilvu al Sadeo. A person gave a loan on his field. Now the field is worth more than the loan. But Amaloi, and the Malva says, if you don't give me repay me the loan within 3 years, he shali, then this field that you're giving me is mine. And Allah is hari shaloi. The kachoya basis ben zayin al pi chachamim. So now this field is worth more than the loan. He's going ahead. Right? He's going ahead, and he's saying the following. He's saying that if you don't pay me, I'm going to take payment from this field, and that seems to be okay. Now we're going to have a whole sugya, guys, of asmachta. We're used to the sugya of asmachta by gambling. Person puts money on the table, he doesn't think he's going to lose, or no people is throwing. So asmachta is where a person says something, but he doesn't really mean it. In other words, this person, this leiva, it doesn't really mean that he's selling the field. Why would I give you a field that's worth more than the loan? So it's asmachta is it's a hard sugya to be machalik between what a regular condition and an asmachta. So let's begin the sugya and let's see what we got. Toveo al amashk al sadeo. Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, b'shas matan mois kana. Says Rav Huna, b'shas matan mois, if the time you go ahead and you make this condition, that we said that this 3 years condition, if the Malbim made this condition b'shat matan mois, when he gave the money to the loiver and then he doesn't pay after 3 years, then kind of the Malbim is kind of the hakol. He gets the whole field, even though the field's worth more. But let's say he said that after the money was given over to him, then leikana el keneged ma'osav. He'd only get keneged ma'osav. So, for example, the loan was for $1,000. The field was worth $3,000. If he makes the condition at the time of the loan and the loiva defaults, he's going to get $3,000 worth of land. If, on the other hand, he says that afterwards he's only going to get $1,000 worth of the land, he's not going to get the extra $2,000. That's what Rav Huna says. So if he made the condition b'shas matan nois, he'll get the whole land. La'achem matan nois loikon, he's not going to get it. Ella keneged, only what? He'll only get keneged he'll get keneged ma'isa. He'll get keneged what is money. Rav Nachman Amar afilu la'acha matan mois. Even if he made the condition after matan mois, then and he doesn't get the chayiv, kohen hakol will get the 3,000. So machloikis Rav Huna and Rav Nachman. When's the machloikis? After matan mois. After matan mois. Before matan mois, everyone agrees you're going to get the 3,000. After matan mois, says Rav Huna, you're only going to get the 1,000, which is the loan. Says Rav, even after matan mois, says Rav Nachman, you're going to still get the 2,000, the whole 3,000. Excuse me. Of Rav Nachman uvda gabe reish galusa kishmaitza. He had such an incident that occurred, and he did according to his psak. And they wrote up the psak, and they wrote up the shtar of his psak. You know, they wrote the minutes down, and they wrote the shtar. And Koyer Rav Yehuda l'shtare, the great Rav Yehuda, the Shinana, the Talmud Muvik of Rav and Shmuel, went ahead and he ripped up psak of Nachman. He disagreed. In other words, it was after Matan Mois, and he collected the whole 3,000. Amalei Reish Galusa said to Rav Nachman, Rav Yehuda Kari l'shtarach. Rav Yehuda ripped up Yishtar psak. Amalei, so Rav Nachman told the Reish Galusa he was his son-in-law. Dardaka Kare, was it a child who ripped up my shtar? Gafar Rabbi Kare, he was a great person who ripped up my shtar, who disagreed with me as Rav Yehuda. So it must be Shechaz Beit Taima V'Kare. He saw a reason not to collect the full 3,000, and he ripped it up. That was one lashon. Ikad the army others say Amalei Rav Nachman told the Reish Galusa, Dardiki Kare, was it a kid who ripped it up? In other words, a kid ripped it up. It's a statement. In other words, compared to me, the Rav Yehuda compared to Rav Nachman is a kid. The Kuliyamo Legabi Didi Bedina Dardiki Ninu. Regarding Dinei Maminis, Rav Nachman was an expert. We saw in Dinei Maminis. We said earlier he compared himself to Shmuel. Again, Machlokes Rav and Shmuel, Dinei Shmuel B'Maminis, Dinei Karav B'Isser. So we know that Shmuel was the expert in monetary matters, and Rav Nachman compared himself to Shmuel. And Rav Nachman is saying now in the Ikadiyami, it's a statement. Now, according to the first lashon, he's acquiescing. According to the second lashon, he's saying, "Who is Rabbi Yehuda to rip my shtar? There's no one like. He's a kid compared to me in Dinei Maminis." Okay, Hadam Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman went ahead and said, "Afilu b'shas matan mois leikonav leiklum." Listen to this, guys. He went a full 180. Listen to what he said. Initially, he said, "Of course, b'shas matan mois, and even shaloi b'shas matan mois." And now he's saying, guys, listen, "Afilu b'shas matan mois, you get nothing. You only get 1,000." You hear? Again, Rav Nachman said he was the biggest mako. He said, or the biggest machmer, depending which side you're coming from, right? He said if the loan is 1,000, if this malva made a condition, whether the condition was made at the time of the halva or after the money was given, you're still going to get the extra money in the land. You're going to get the whole land. Now Rav Nachman is saying, even if you make the condition at the time, you're not going to get the land. Now, why won't you get the land, fellas? Because this is an asmachta. Guys, outside, look at me, please. Which guy in his right mind is going to go ahead, take he really needs the money, but he's going to take a loan and the condition to give back a piece of property that's worth more than the loan? But I mean, really, who's going to do that? It's meaning he needed the money. So he said, "I'll do it." But he didn't mean it. Like gambling. I thought I was going to win. In other words, he thought he'd pay him back the money. He thought it would never come to him taking the field. No person's going to do that. So Rav Nachman now is changing his mind. Even b'shas mani mois, the person did not go ahead, the loiva, and be makna him the field. He really didn't mean it. That's called an asmachta. So initially, Rav Nachman held a smachta kanya, guys, and therefore he said you get the full $3,000. And now he's saying you don't get anything because even b'shas matan mois, he really didn't mean it. He really did not. He never thought it would come to this. He really didn't mean it. So Hadam Rav Nachman afilu b'shas matan mois leikonav leiklum. Why? Eser Rav Nachman imi ata noiseli mikan b'shalosh shonim. Hari Shali, Hari Shaloi, we're asking for my Mishnah. Guys, that this is the case of our Mishnah. The guy said, "I'm giving it to you," and the lacher is it is his. Rav Nachman can't argue on a Mishnah. Amalei Rav Nachman told Rava, "Ani oime asmachta kanya." I hold an asmachta. I thought asmachta kanya. And uminyumi ama asmachta loy kanya. Minyume, the Amora Minyume convinced me that asmachta is not kanya, right? And therefore I changed my mind. I kasha masnisan. You have a kasha from the Mishnah where asmachta. Obviously, guys, our Mishnah is an asmachta and it's koina because we're saying it goes to him. It says by saying masnisan Rabbi Yosihi. Our Mishnah is Rabbi Yossi who says asmachta kanya. The Ami asmachta kanya is of the opinion asmachta kanya. And by saying the Amalei konemi achshav. Oh, he didn't say. He said, if I don't repay it, you're going to retroactively you're going to get it. Retroactively you're going to get it. Meaning he made it into a mecha. He said it's yours. So therefore it's not an asmachta. Says Rashi. If I don't give you repay the loan up to 3 years, the lav asmachtahi, elakinyan gama, it's going to be coining you from now. In other words, by saying me achshav, he's saying that he is gomer umachnet. Again, what's the asmachta, fellas? Guys, look at me. Guys, what's the asmachta? He never felt in a million years he'd come to the point where he'd have to give him the field. Why? Because he thought he'd have the money. But if he says me achshav, obviously what is he saying? It's from yours now. That obviously he's taking into account. That must be that he won't get it, or else why would he be marked it from then? And that's so. There's 2 ways to go ahead and answer the kasha of Nachman. One, our Mishnah is according to Rabbi Yossi. What Svein's our Mishnah is saying where he said me achshav. And it says me achshav no longer is an asmachta. At that point in time, it's not an asmachta. Okay? Says the Gemara Baita. Amalei mar Yenuka umar Kashisha b'nei Rav Chisda. Right? One was L'Rav Ashi. So they went ahead and mar Yenuka mar Kashisha, the sons of Rav Chisda, said to Rav Ashi, Hachi omen nadoi mishmei Rav Nachman. Hi asmachta, this asmachta. Hi asmachta, this asmachta, right? This asmachta, bismane kanya, in the right time it's kaina, below zman loy kanya, and not at the right time it's not kaina. What does Rashi say? There's a salkadaitach over here, right? Bismane kanya, kasalkadaitach higia zman v'loy nasan loy moisav. So in our case, if after 3 years you didn't get it, then the asmachta is kaina. But what if before 3 years it's not koina? Says the Gemara, kol midi bismani koina, b'loy bismani loy koina. Why does it do with the asmachta? Anything that's contingent upon a tanai, right? If it's contingent upon the zman of the tanai, whatever the zman is, that's what it's contingent upon. In other words, if 3 years is your timetable, then nothing's going to happen until 3 years. Before 3 years, not. So what does it depend upon asmachta or not asmachta? If that's the pshat that you think it is, it has nothing to do with asmachta. If I make a condition, this is yours if I don't pay you back in 10 years. Before 10 years, nothing talking about. What does it do with asmachta? Zero. So Fred the Gemara, if that's the pshat, and the havamina that's the pshat, kol midi the mizmani koina blaze mini loy koina, says the Gemara, dilma hachi kami. So here's what it means. Ashkechei bigav zmano, if the loiva finds the malva within 3 years, but Omale, and the Levit says the Malba Kinei acquire the field because I'm not going to be able to pay up the loan. Kana, the Malba is going to get the field. Boss's money, but after 3 years, but Omale, he says, Kinei, go coin the field. Like coin it, and the Malba is not coin the field. My timer, Shemachmas Kisufahu the Kamale. He's embarrassed that he can't pay the loan. So he's telling him to go get the field, but he really, really doesn't mean it. Again, this is not smachta. He really doesn't mean it. So now, going back over the Gemara. Amalei my Yenuka Markashisha b'nei Rav Chisda Rav Ashi Hachi Omen Nardoi Mishmei Rav Nachman Hayas Machta Bismani Kanya, right? Bismani Kanya, meaning if you find it in the middle of the Zman, before you reach the Zman of 3 years, in our case, and you say Kanya, and again, obviously you could have waited till 3, but you're telling him earlier, meaning you give up hope that you could ever get the money together, and you're giving it to him now. But loismane, however, after this man is over, and you say go get it, really you're embarrassed. You really don't want to be marketed to him. You just don't have the funds. So that's the pshat we're learning now in the Mishnah, in the statement of my Yenuka Markashisha. Says the Gemara v'loihi, it's not true. These words don't make any sense. The afilu begav zmana, even within the 3 years, if the loiva tells the malva kni, Nami lekana. The Mav is also not going to the field. Again, even within the 3 years, if he tells him that be kind of the fields, he means you're not kind of the fields. Well,
but I don't understand something. I'm sorry to interrupt as usual. But if he time passed that he owes him the 3 years is over.
it's an asmachta, Meir. It's an asmachta. The question, it's
What
totally in. Does
do
he
with that
want to
point?
be maknit? Again, he didn't say, I'm answering your question. He didn't say me'achshav. He didn't say me'achshav, right? So it's not acquired retroactively. It has to be required now. A question, here, this is one point, and then I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I'm selling you something and I don't mean it, is it a sale or not?
That's the machlokes, isn't it?
No, I'm saying, but isn't that the point? If I don't mean it, when I say something, I don't mean it, then you're not acquiring it. So the question is, when he said the kind of it, good 3 years are up. It doesn't make a difference. Do I mean it or don't I mean it? If I can touch up, you don't mean. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
If I can touch up, you don't mean it, then the sale doesn't go through. You're learning it as the condition, okay? Meya, if it was a condition, you'd be right, but it's an asmachta. And as we're going to see at the end of the sugya, there's a difference between an asmachta and a tanai. We have to make the difference between a condition and an asmachta, yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay, good, great. Says the Gemara, even during fellas, even within the 3 years, he says bikaina, he doesn't mean it. That fila begav zmana, he doesn't mean it. Nami lekana. So why did he tell him within 3 years? Kasava kimat zmana leilaisi lechadron. He figured, you know what? I'll tell you bikaina. And there, after 3 years, he's not going to bother me. I'll just push him off. But in other words, I could tight up. That's what he means. Once I could tight up, that's what he means. He doesn't acquire the field. Again, Meir's point's a good point, guys. We have to machalik between a condition and an asmachta. If I can touch up an asmachta, he didn't mean to give it. There's no way in the world the guy's acquiring it. Because again, if he said me'achshav, you'd be right. Then he's telling him retroactively, but he didn't say that. Amra Papa, hayasmachta zmani kanya. Sometimes it works. Zmani like kanya, sometimes not. For example, ashche kishoshe shechra. Let's say in our case, we're going to touch up that after 3 years are over, he finds the guy in a bar and he's drinking. Then the 3 years are up. This is the time he has a chance to lose it. He's drinking in a bar. In this case, what? We're going to say he's kaina. In this case, he's kaina. Why? Because obviously, if he's drinking in a bar, he gives up hope of ever to repay the loan. So therefore, if we'll touch up, he gave up already, and therefore the guy will acquire the field. Because again, if he really was going to pay up the loan, he won't be in a bar. He'd be going to every tzedakah or every gemach and everything that he possibly can do to get the money together. However, the kamahapich azusa, if you see him going to every gemach and running around, then leikana. So Meir, you hear, by his actions, we're touching up. What does he really mean? That's what touching up at that smachta, his actions. If he's drinking in the bar, we'll touch up that he's given up and he's giving it over to the malva, and if he goes ahead and he is running around trying to get the funds together, we'll touch up that he does not want to give it to the malva. Maybe fellas that he's drinking, this is the way I would have learned. Hitaka doesn't want to give it up, but he's just learning to go ahead. Why? He's just drinking to, drown his sorrows in a cup, something like that. I would touch up. The reason he's drinking, of course, he doesn't want to lose his field, but he's not drinking because he wants to give it up. He's drinking because einachinami, he can't get it together. He can't get the funds together. Kenny?
Papa says he's drinking. It's always for Papa.
Okay, a good deal, Kenny. I hear, right? But it's not. It's Rav Papa didn't say that. Rav Papa said he's drinking, and you're right. I got you. Okay. Anyway, inami, in a shachrina asked me azuse. No, the fact he's drinking is because he's so secure that he has the money together. He's drinking l'chaim, guys. He's drinking l'chaim. Someone else is going to go ahead and foot the bill on my loan. So in other words, again, Meir's point. Once I can touch up that he doesn't want to do it, it can't be kaina. It's geschmack. It's a guy very geschmack. No, that's not smachta. Ella amravina. You want a chilik in a smachta? Here's a chilik. Ikap b'demei. The guy is. Now, if you need money, you know what you're doing? You're having a yard sale. You're selling 80 cents on the dollar. You're not being makbet to the penny, right? If you need your money, you're gonna take a loss to get your capital together. What does this person do? He's going ahead and he's selling his metaltalin, but he's being makbid to the penny. And therefore, case vaday kana. Vaday is kana. Why? Because he's given up hope of ever paying off the loan. Because if he needed the funds, he wouldn't be so makbid on what? On the sale. He wouldn't be so makbid on the sale. I need the money. Elwi sees makbid on the sale. He doesn't care. He's giving up on repaying the loan. Just like he slugged up Rav Papa, is coming to slug of Ravina. Dilma Sava, Kihechi Delay Tazel Are. You know why he's being makbid? When you see a guy selling 80 cents on the dollar, he's selling his metaltalin. What goes off in your mind? This guy's got monetary problems. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check out his real estate and try to get a good deal. So the fact that he's going ahead and being makbid on the dollar is not telling me that he's giving up and paying up the loan. It's that he wants to avoid people, a rumor going out, a call going out that this guy has monetary problems. And that's why he's selling, because if it does, his real estate's going to go down. So again, once I could touch up his action that he's not giving up the loan, you're not kind of. That's the whole Gemara over here is, how do I touch up his action? Back and forth. How do I touch up his action? So Ella, Amar Rav Papa, here's Rav Papa getting involved. If he doesn't sell his field even for its value, vaday kana. If in other words, people are offering face value for his fields and he's not selling it, obviously he's giving up hope of what? Of repaying the loan, and therefore the malva will be kind those fields. Papa says Rav Papa, afagav the Amar Rabbanon asmachta loikanya. Even though the Rabbanan say asmachta loikanya, right? Apoitiki have lemigve mina, and it's an apoitiki to collect from it. Now, what does that mean? Even though asmachta loikanya, right, to collect the full 3,000, nonetheless, in this land is the place where he's going to collect 1,000 and not from some other land. The land that he saw, again, this land that he said, I'm giving you $3,000, and he goes ahead and I'm lending you $3,000 on this field. This field becomes the place where he's going to collect from that money. This field becomes the place where he's going to collect from. He's going to collect the money from. Says Rav Papa. Afal gav the Amar Rabbanon asmach loikanya apoitiki havi lemigve mina. This field is considered a apoitiki, and the loiva, right? The loiva cannot give him kesef. He's going to collect from this field. Guys, you hear the chiddush nifla. Usually, you can pay back your loan. Usually, you can pay back your loan. The guy lent you $3,000. You pay back $3,000. You're telling me now, at the end of 3 years, you didn't pay back the $3,000, and now the guy's going to collect, but he can't collect from the field because it's not smachta, and therefore you never gave up hope. Says Rav Papa, nonetheless, you can't give him cash. He'll get the $1,000 worth from this field. That's what he's saying. Apoitiki, this will be the first mortgage. This will be the first mortgage. That's what he's saying. Now, Amalei Rav Huna, Bereder Rav Nasan Rav Papa. Mika Amalei Koini Legavaina. Did the loiva ever say you should acquire this field to collect from this field? Mika Amalei Koini Legavaina. Did you coin this field to collect from this field? So Amalei Mazucha Bereder Rav Mari Ravina. The Yoma Kinei Migme Minei Kani, and if he would have Taka said that, would he be kind of the field? In other words, I'm disagreeing with Rav Papa not only in language but in principle. I don't agree that if he defaults on the loan and you're going to collect from this field, I don't agree to collect from this field. Soif asmachti. It's an asmachta, asmachta loikanya. Guys outside, eye contact. What shaykhis does this guy have to the field? What shaykhis does this moicha have to this field? Because he went ahead and said at the Shasa of the Halva, I'm lending you this money, and guess what? If at the end of 3 years you don't pay, I'm going to collect your field. That's what he said. We just went now. What does the loiva say? Done. Does the loiva mean it? Absolutely not. There's no way he's giving a $3,000 field for a $1,000 loan. No way. He's not doing it, right? Why does he say it? He needs the money, but he doesn't mean to give the field. We just went through a whole sugya and we concluded asmachta loikanya. Except Rabbi Yossi, you're not going to the field. Says Rav Papa Chiddush, good, you're not going to the field, but guess what? The guy does not have an option to give you cash. He has to give you this field. Says the Gemara. Let me get the name of the person. Says my sutra. Says my sutra Breder of Murray. How in the world can you tell me, Rav Papa, he's going to collect only from this field? Once asmachta leikanya, he has no shaykhis to this field. Guys, once asmachta leikanya, he has no shaykhis to the field. The only shaykhis he has to the field is machmas' condition that he made at the time of the loan. But that condition at the time of the loan is a moot point. It's gone. So how can you tell me you collect from the field and not money? It's a kavaldik kasha, right? You want to tie up. You can't get the whole field, but you'll get part of the field. Why? If I smack like Kanya, you're getting no field. That's what he's saying. Again, if he would have said acquire it to collect from it, right? You're going to go ahead, Kani is going to acquire the field. Safe, asmachtahi. The labor doesn't mean it for a second. Asmachta like Kanya, and asmachta doesn't work. Ella, what do you have to say? So I was a papa speaking about. Again, an apoitiki is poitei koi, that's first mortgage. Maihi, the amalei, la yehelecha peroyin elamizu. If he says you collect within the 3 years, he says, he says within 3 years, that if you collect, you can collect from this field. Look at Rashi. Damalei la yehelecha peroyin elamizu. Even within the 3 years, you can collect from this field. So he says the following. You know what? You want to make a condition like this. Listen to what he says. He says, I'm giving you $1,000 on the condition, if you don't pay in 3 years, I'm going to take away your $3,000 field. Says the loiva, if I don't pay within 3 years, even within 3 years, you can collect $1,000 in this field. And if I don't pay within 3 years, you can collect the whole field. So the collecting for 3 years is what is a smachta. But the statement that you're going to collect from this field, the apoitiki, that's not an asmachta. So that's what he says. Look at Rashi. This is what the Lord is saying. If I don't give you from your money, until 3 years, then the whole thing should be yours. If earlier, between 3 years, it should be an apoitiki. After 3 years, the whole thing. Rav Papa, the apogov like Kanya lemahabi kula day. Even though he's not going to acquire the full 3,000 worth field, he's not going to acquire the full 3,000 worth field. La'acha gimel, why? Nonetheless, apoitiki have lamigve mine. You can still collect the 1,000. The belava smachta nami shavisa apoitiki. Without a smachta, he made it into apoitiki. That's the chiddush of. That's the chiddush of Rav Papa. That's what Papa's chiddush. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Who gavra the zovenle arem bechavre bachrayas. Person went ahead. He sold the field to his friend bachrayas. And so now, if anything happens, he's going to make it up then. Amalei itarfolo minoi. He said to him, if they rip it away from me, this is the like keach to the meicher. So in other words, the meicher says, if they take it away from you, I'm going to make it up to you. Now the keach is adding a little bit of a kenech. Usually, guys, where does the Baal Chayv collect from? Right, you should collect from Baininus, right? Collect from, remember, there's three fields: Baininus, Idius, Baininus, and Ziburius. Who collects from Idius? A Nezek. Who collects from Baininus? A Baal Chayv. Who collects from Ziburius? Ksubasisha. Midraisa, we won't get into Midrabanan and Daraisa, but that's the din. So now, this guy, he should collect right from Baininus. Baal Chayv should collect from Baininus. Then what happens? He says the following: Amalei. The Lekech says, "Itarfule minoi." If the field is taken away from me, magvisli, I want you to let me to collect from you. Me idius. I want best real estate you got. I want your best. I want Central Jerusalem. The islacha Amalei. So says the Meicher. Me idius magvina lecha. I want Central Jerusalem. Because I need it. I want it in my possession. I'll give you from I'll give you from the outskirts of Yerushalayim. I'll give you, but I'll give you Idias. Instead of Ramat Beit Shemesh, Ramat review as Bainanis, I'll give you Yerushalayim, but I'm not going to give you central Yerushalayim. I'll give you the outskirts. I'll give you Idias, which is an upgrade. It's not Ramat Beit Shemesh, right? Now, I'm sorry for the people who consider Ramat Beit Shemesh Idias. Okay, sorry, Kenny. Anyway, so it says the Gemara. The Soif Tarfu Minoi, what happened? In fact, the land was taken away. In fact, the land was what? Was taken away. Asa Batka Shakal Idias. So he wanted to go ahead, what? And he wanted to get the best. Savara Papa Lamemar, Midias. That Papa said, what? Right? You don't get you. They checked, and this guy had Idias. And Rav Papa said, you have to give him the outskirts of Yerushalayim. Amalei told Rav Papa, V'kaima, he has what? He has Idias. Amalei Rav Achem Idifli Ravina, V'leimalei ki Amelecha Anah Magvina Lecha, Davi Idias Kaima. Ashta Kaimla Idias B'makam. You know what? Guys, I'm sorry. Let's go over it again. I learned wrong shot. One more time. So what happened was his Idias got flooded. He said, I'm going to get you what from my Idias. So what happened? I just missed the boat over here. So what happened over here? So the field got flooded. His Idias got flooded, so he can't collect from Idias, like you said. So I'm getting for a bunch. One more time. He says, listen, they take it away from me and get Idias. So he told him the following. I'm not going to let you collect from Idias. I'm going to let you collect from Idias. The Soif Tarfu Amine, Asa Batka, and Shakal Idias came, I think, a flood, and it washed away his best. And now he's coming to collect Idias, according to the Tanai. That was his Tanai, correct? He said, I'm not giving you Idias, I'm giving you Idias. So now his Idias is washed away. So he says, the Lekech says, I have nothing to do with it, your Idias. I don't get central Jerusalem. I was on the outside of Yerushalayim. So that's intact. So I'm coming to collect outside Yerushalayim. Savra Papa Lemema, mi Idias, collect outside Yerushalayim. Amlei Torah Papa, Bakaima, right? So Rav Papa said, mi Idias Amalei, one second. So read it together. So Rav Papa Lemema mi Idias Amalei, Bakaima, and he still has Idias. He doesn't have Idias, but has Idias. So Amalei Rav Achim Difli Ravina, let the Meicher say to the Lekeach, Ki Ami Lecha, Anna Magvina Lecha. When did I tell you that you could collect from Idias? To have Idias Kaima. That's when my Idias was still available. Hashda Kaima Idias B'Makim Idias. Now let outskirts of Yerushalayim become central Yerushalayim. Okay, so outside, just go. I'm sorry. Let me give you the case outside. Quote. This guy was supposed to collect Bainanis. He made a deal. He goes, I want your best. I want central Jerusalem. He said, you can't have central Jerusalem. You can have the outside of Jerusalem. Right? You can have the outside Jerusalem. Okay. What happened? Central Jerusalem got flooded. He didn't have that anymore. The guy shows up after the field was taken away from him, and he says, give me the outskirts of Yerushalayim. But Papa thought it was a good thing to do. After all, that was the deal. So, Rav Huna Rav Yeshua told Rav Papa, let me get the names correct. Rav Achim Difti said to Ravina, L'chayra, he could push him to Ramat Beit Shemesh. If I make the outskirts of Yerushalayim into central Yerushalayim, because now that is my Idias, and I don't have Idias at all, I'm going to put you to Ramat Beit Shemesh, which is my Bainanis. When did I tell you could have the outskirts? That's when I had central. I don't have central anymore. So what's my best now? Outskirts. So if outskirts is my best, I don't have Idias to give you. So I'll give you Ramat Beit Shemesh. That was the Gemara. If that makes any sense. Okay, says let's finish up. Rav Bashvo having Masik Bei Rav Kahana Zuse. Right. So Rav Bashva, he was chayiv to Rav Kahana. He owed Rav Kahana money. Amalei Rabbi Shava, the loiva said to Rav Kahana the Malva, Eloi Parana l'choli yoim ploini. If I don't pay for you the $10 I owe you, Gove mehai chamra, you can collect from this barrel of wine. Now, this barrel of wine right now is worth $10. But when it comes to time of the Puroyin, it's going to be worth $100 because we know it's going to go up in price. We know it's going to go up in price because that's the way the wine sales work. So, in fact, there's no way in the world that Rav Shavua didn't think he'd pay $10 because he thought he paid the $10 rather than the wine. So this is an asmachta, guys. Again, just like there's no way in the world he was going to pay a $3,000 field for a $1,000 loan, he's not paying a $100 barrel of wine for a $10 barrel of wine. It's an asmachta. Okay? Says the Gemara, Savra Papa Lemeimar, the Papa held say, Ki amina asmachta lekanya, hanili ba'ara. That's when it comes to land. The lav lizvune kaimi, because people don't sell their land. Aval chamra kivin lizvune koi, but chamra is which is usually sold. Kizuze dam, it's like a zuz, and right, it's like money, and money is not an asmachta. Amal Rafahuna braid of Yeshua l'Rapapa hachi amin mishmei de Rabba kol dei loikana. Any kinyan that's dependent upon if, then you're not kaina. So this is if I don't pay you, you're not kaina now. So what's the answer? Why it's not kinyan? Because if I don't come up with the money, then I won't pay you. So here, the question is over here: how is this different? How is this different than any other condition? The lashon e means if. I mean, you can make a condition. We make conditions all the time. We make conditions all the time. So there's a really nice sefer that my son Simcha told me to get. I got it. It's a wonderful sefer. It's on Ezu Neshech. It's only on Ezu Neshech, and he deals with the Shaila. He quotes the Rush in Siman Chav Tes. If a person is megazim in the matana, if he goes ahead and he makes a guzman in the matana, like in our case of the Mishnah, if I don't pay you $1,000 in cash, I'm going to give you $3,000 worth of land. If I don't pay you $10 in cash, I'm going to give you $100 worth of wine. So a normal condition is where it's not a guzma, but where it's meguzim, where it's really far out, then you don't say that. That's the Rush. I have over here the Rambam. This Rambam is in Yud Aleph from Hilchas Mechira, Perik Yud Aleph, Halacha Vav. Perik Yud Aleph, Halacha Vav. V'chein kol tanoyim shemaslim b'nei odem b'neihem, any condition that people make between them, afa pi shehem be'edim u'b'shtar, even though on the kasha of Yasha you have edim and a shtar, im yeh kach or im tasa kach, if this will be or you'll do that, etin l'chamana, I'll give you 100 zuz, or I'll go ahead and be makna to you this house. V'im lo yeh and if it won't be or you won't do, even if he does it, you're not kaina. Anyone says if it will be, if it won't be, any condition that's contingent upon if I will do, if I won't do, it's not a gemara. Shaydaita dayin soimches is das is there's lashon smicha shema yiyah shema lo yiyah. Maybe it will be and maybe it won't be. Right? A condition usually is made. This is a condition. Do this, and you'll get it. This is if it will be, if it won't be. Right? This is the lashon of the Rambam. It seems to be that it can't. When a person makes a condition that is so two-sided that if it's contingent upon if you'll do this or you won't do this. Now you have to see how this works out with the Tanai B'nai Gad U'B'nai Ruvain. The difference if you go into Eretz Yisrael, you don't go into Eretz Yisrael, because that was like they knew. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "You go in, you get it. You don't go in, you don't get it." That's one-sided, guys. That's one-sided. This is what if this will be this, if this will be this. If you will do this or you won't do this, then it doesn't seem it's acquired. This is the lashon of the Rambam. Okay, I'm going to do a little more research into this, but this is basically on a regular achas the difference between what? Between the Tanai and what? And an Asmachta.